So, lads, today we're going to be talking about what is one of the worst contracts in NBA history. And it's not this man right here. I just got to say this. It's not this man right here. But at the same time, this contract, at the time, it seemed crazy, the Jimmy Butler one, because of how much they were paying him. And, I'm somebody who has been on the YouTube space for a long, long time. And heck, I'll even show you a video that I made about this years ago. Before we get on to that, though, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit, if we can somehow hit 9,000 subscribers by the end of this week, that would be insane. We are still on track for 10,000, at some stage, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But at the same time, if you guys don't know, we're also trying to see if we can catch up with the BBALL Daily channel. This was my original basketball channel that I tried to reboot, kind of revamp, and this channel was doing better, or Mick Talks Hoops channel was doing better, so I went with that. But literally 3 years ago, Jimmy Butler will be getting $50 million at 36 years old. Talking about how poor of a trade that was, and how poor of a signing that was, and it is an interesting one. It is an interesting one to look at. It's even at the time, it didn't seem like it seemed like it was a crazy contract, but still at this stage he's got to have 2 more years at $60 million a year, which is kind of crazy. But this isn't the worst contract by any means. It's this man right here. It's Bradley Beal. He has a no trade clause. Whatever the Washington Wizards were doing to get Bradley Beal a no trade clause to make him sign, they didn't need to keep him. They overpaid him at the time. They didn't need to keep him. They could have got him without the no trade clause. They signed him to a 5-year, $250 million deal. That wasn't front-loaded. They got more and more and more. And he's got next season and the year after on a player option until 2027. I think if he was a free agent, if he didn't have this player option, I think there's a possibility he could be tradable for a good team. But the 2026 free agency class looks like the first decent free agency class in a long, long time. So, yeah, I think that it is a horrible contract because you got him 1 year with the Wizards at $43 million. Then you traded him to the Suns because you had to trade him to the Suns. And what you got back from the Suns, if I'm not mistaken, what was the Bradley Beal trade? What did they get back in the Bradley Beal trade? I can't even remember. They got... What did the Wizards even get? Was it a 3-team trade? I have no idea. But it's at the stage now where NBA execs are saying it's the worst contract with Bradley Beal and mid-Butler trade rumors. The problem is that you're seeing this. He's not going to okay a deal to Detroit or Charlotte or any rebuilding team that's out there. He's not doing that. He will literally, he can choose where to go. So a lot of teams are like, you know what, Jimmy Butler the Suns could find a way to get Jimmy if they can find another team to take Bradley Beal. But no good team is going to take Bradley Beal. He'll only accept going to a good team. No good team. It's mad. It's mad. It is one of... If he didn't have a no-trade clause, Bradley Beal could have just be sent anywhere. But because he has a no-trade clause, and thankfully he didn't have a freaking trade kicker. If he had a trade kicker in the contract, that would be even worse. But, if you're the freaking... Why did they not give him a trade kicker instead if you were Washington? There's no way Bradley Beal in the year of 2022 was going to walk from a damn Supermax. It wasn't 2021. Fair enough, after the 2021 season, you could see potentially Bradley Beal walking on a Supermax. This year, he's averaging 17.8 points per game. If you want to look at his seasons, after the 2021 season, he played 60 out of 70 games, and in those games, he averaged 31.3 points per game. He averaged 31.3 points per game and played 60 out of 70. The following season, he played 40 games out of 82, and in those 40 games, he averaged 23 points. It was after the 23-point season they decided to give him a Supermax. Not the back-to-back 30s. After a down season where he was injured and just down across the board. He was down across the board. Effective field goal percentage to a low since his 3rd season. Points per game, his lowest since freaking, 2018? 2018? Since he was 24 was his lowest points per game. And they gave him that contract. And now you're looking at a situation where The only reason Jimmy Butler is not playing for the Phoenix Suns is because of Bradley Beal's no trade clause. They gave him that contract. And look, whatever about the Wizards doing it, the Wizards are a poverty franchise. Like, they are such a bad franchise. It's got to the stage where I'm like, I actually, when it comes to the Wizards, I'm never in shock about what they're doing, because what they're doing is freaking crazy. It is crazy what the Washington Wizards do as a franchise. Like, they are borderline incompetent. Unless they get extremely lucky with a free agent, I would consider them pretty much incompetent. Or sorry, I'm with a free agent, with a draft pick. They're incompetent. They've been terrible. They got lucky with that Bradley Beal fell to 3 in 2012 because the Charlotte Hornets, or the Bobcats at the time, were so dumb that they didn't trade the 2 picks straight up for James Harden, which the Thunder wanted to do. The dumbest thing ever, so they could take Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Like, that is as dumb as not taking all of those picks. You know those picks that the Celtics got good with from the Nets? The Charlotte Bobcats also turned down those. All of those picks, the ones that became Tatum and Brown, because they wanted to take Frank Kaminsky. Like, Michael Jordan's the worst GM ever, but still, like, you've got a situation here now where, like, the Wizards were such a poor franchise that it's just acceptable that they do dumb shit. But Matt Ishbia trading for Bradley Beal was so dumb, because you traded assets for one of the worst contracts that you cannot get off. There's only one chance of getting Jimmy Butler if you're Phoenix, and it's literally trading Devin Booker or Kevin Durant, and he's not going to go there without either of them. Actually, you know what? Jimmy Butler probably would without Devin Booker. Like, it'll actually take that, because Miami are not going to take Bradley Beal. Miami would rather Jimmy Butler sit there, not play for the season, and every game he refuses to play or doesn't take basketball seriously, or tries to, if he tries to James Harden his way out, Miami are going to have every single bit of that documented, and he's going to be suspended, and they're not going to get any money back. Like, trust me on this. Like, Jimmy's not getting a cent back. Miami have a 10-page report. They basically, according to Tim Hardaway, found them pretending to be sick and just chilling out at the club. So it's like, I'm sorry, you're not going to beat Pat Riley. You're not going to beat Pat Riley. And now, even with obviously not beating Pat Riley, he's got a situation where he's probably just not going to play basketball for a while. He's going to waste a season. Or does he like basketball enough to at least even try in the playoffs? I don't know what's going on. Heck, Miami are better without Jimmy Butler this season. But at the same time, this has to be one of the worst contracts ever. So, like, someone like the Pistons. I think the Pistons are a team that would actually take Bradley Beal, because the Pistons are good. And this is the one kind of chance that they have, if there's some way that they can get off certain contracts for Detroit. And the Pistons, who have been so bad for so long, are thinking, because, like, if you want to look at their standings, they're currently the 8th seed in the East. They're only, like, they're not far at all off, like, the Bucks, off the Pacers. So they're one game back. So maybe they could say, look, we're going to somehow get Bradley Beal, and we're going to push for the playoffs. Ironically, the Pistons are better than the Suns, but you've got now a situation where you got to see what Bradley Beal's willing to do. I think that's the only chance, is if it's Detroit, because at least maybe Bradley Beal can be convinced, look, you're going to be a starter in Detroit. They're going to try force you out. And I don't know what Miami you're going to get. Miami might get some assets from that. But if you're Miami, like, I don't even care at this stage. Like, people are like, oh, you don't want to let Jimmy win. I don't even care if you let Jimmy win. Jimmy Butler's he's not a max contract player, and the Phoenix Suns are about to destroy their future for him. So, like, you're going to have to give, realistically, for the Pistons to take Bradley Beal. And because they're in the second apron, they're only able to, give away a certain amount of picks. It'll take literally something like giving Miami Ryan Dunn, and however many second rounds you can possibly give, and giving maybe the Pistons. Actually, maybe the Pistons just getting Beal for free. Maybe Miami getting a first and Ryan Dunn to give you Jimmy Butler, and Pistons just taking Bradley Beal. But it's one of the worst contracts I've ever seen, because not only is it a bad contract, like, we talk about the Wall contract, we talk about the Arenas contract. At least those contracts literally allowed teams to trade them. Those contracts allowed the players to be traded. Like, Gilbert Arenas got traded to Orlando. There's no situation where, until literally the last year of his contract, where any team is going to be smart enough to take him, because he's under contract on a max through 2027, in the 1 year when people actually going to go for free agents. So the Suns. Like, the Washington Wizards are idiots, but the Suns are bigger idiots for making a trade.